The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says an expanded offensive against Hamas will be intensive. It comes after his security cabinet approved plans that may include seizing the entire Gaza Strip. The Israeli military says the new phase of its operations will involve the evacuation of most of the population in Gaza in order to protect them, quote unquote, in a sterile area. Israeli troops having already taken over an area mounting to about a third of the strip, displacing the population and building watchtowers and surveillance posts on cleared ground the military has described as so-called security zones. This is what the Israeli Prime Minister said earlier.
We decided on a powerful operation in Gaza. This was the recommendation of the Chief of Staff to, as he said, defeat Hamas. Gaza's population will be moved for its own protection.
And joining me now in the studio is Angela Diffley, our International Affairs Editor. Angela, what exactly are the Israelis proposing?
Well, the idea is to move most of the 2 million, around 2 million or so of the 2.5 million Gazas to the south, to an area which is about 25% of the Gazan territory down near Rafah, and for the Israeli army to keep control of Gaza, whereas in the past they have secured areas, moved populations, secured areas and moved on. This time the plan would be to keep it, which is an indication that what they have been doing so far has not worked. From those areas in the south, which they will call sterile areas, they hope to control the distribution of humanitarian aid down there. And that is one of the reasons. Israel says the aim of this is to destroy Hamas and to put pressure on Hamas to release the hostages, and that there will be a window of opportunity because Donald Trump is coming next week on Tuesday, and if by the end of his visit a deal has been struck with Hamas, then that is a window of opportunity. Things might not go ahead as this plan has been organised yesterday. It involves calling up enormous numbers of reservists, and that is not very popular in Israel at the moment. This war has been going on a long time. There are signs of Israelis tiring of seeing their sons and in some cases daughters being asked to join in the fight. That in itself is unpopular. And Israeli society is increasingly divided over this. The most recent polls suggest a majority of Israelis would like to have the hostages back, even if that means ending this war. Netanyahu appears to prioritize destroying Hamas and ending the war. And the fact that this is unpopular and that he is prepared to go ahead with it does suggest that this is all about the fact that he is beholden to that far-right element in his government in order to stay in power.
Now, in the meantime, Hamas has been saying there's been no point in having negotiations while Palestinians in Gaza are facing a humanitarian catastrophe with that Israeli aid blockade.
Yeah, we should point out there is documented evidence, at least we don't know if it's Hamas, but, of armed people holding up aid trucks, taking food. It's out there. There are videos of it. At certain times, UN agents or humanitarian agencies have said that is what happened. Israel maintains that Hamas regularly takes food intended for ordinary Gazans. So the irony of them suggesting that, they can't negotiate while this hunger situation is going on should be pointed out. We should also point out that 2 weeks ago, Gazans did have some very rare demonstrations against Hamas. That is something very rare because Gazans fear reprisals. This is an armed group. That said, the Israelis maintain that during the ceasefire, enough aid went into Gaza to sustain the population for quite a period of time. But humanitarian agencies are saying there are cases, too many cases, of children with malnutrition, that there is a case of hunger and a looming case of something much, much worse. And the Israeli idea is that in this area in the south, they're calling it a sterile zone, The population would be screened using facial recognition. There would be a system whereby a nominated person went to collect food. That way they could make sure that Hamas wasn't stealing any food, and that outside security forces, perhaps American, would guarantee the security, and outside aid agencies would distribute the food. The United Nations has told agencies not to cooperate. They say this would be contributing to Israeli military strategy, and that it would mean that aid could only be delivered to people who have been forced from their homes and are being screened.
Angela Diffley, thank you.